dear. Welcome everyone to the Finance and Audit Committee of Bexhill-on-Sea Town Council. Today is Wednesday the 13th of November. I'm opening this meeting because currently this committee doesn't have an elected chair or vice chair. So as soon as the chair is elected, I will, as ex officio, remove myself and the chair will take over for the rest of the meeting. May I please remind everybody to turn off, or at the very least put your phones on airplane mode for fear of interrupting our signal for the recording. Lovely to see members of the public here tonight, and the first part of this meeting is to give our members of the public the opportunity to have 3 minutes to speak to this committee. If you could show your hand if you wish to speak. Sorry, Councillor Plim.
Item 1 on here is to elect the chair.
Oh, I apologise, I was reading the words at the top. With regret, members of the public will have to wait if you wish to speak. Thank you. So the first item is to elect a chair of the Finance and Audit Committee. Do I have any people wishing to stand as chair of this committee? If you could show your hand, please.
I was going to propose somebody. So.
I was asking for people who wanted to stand first.
Which is weird.
So we have 2 people who are wishing to stand for chair of this committee. So this will be a strikeout vote.
No, you have to. So someone proposes somebody and seconds them, and then you ask for any more proposals and seconders. And if you've got 2 proposals and 2 seconders or more, then you'll have a strikeout vote. Okay.
So we've got 2 nominations. So I need a proposal for first Councillor Drayson. Do I have a proposal? Thank you, Councillor L. And do I have a seconder for Councillor Drayson? Councillor Timby. Do I have any other nominations for the position as chair?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Hussain.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Hussain? Thank you, Councillor Al. So we now have 2 volunteers, 2 proposers and 2 seconders. So we now go to a strikeout vote. So, do it by a show of hands. All those in favour of Councillor Drayson being chair of Finance and Audit Committee, please show your hands.
You're allowed to vote.
Yeah. Was I allowed to vote?
That's 2. All those in favour of Councillor Hussain to be chair of Finance and Audit Committee, please show your hands. That's 3. So it gives me great delight to confirm that Councillor Hussain has been elected chair of the Finance and Audit Committee. In which case I will remove myself and leave the rest of the meeting to Councillor Hussain.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. And next item on the agenda is 2, which is to elect a vice chair. Do I have any nominations for a vice chair, please? Yes, Councillor.
Can I nominate myself?
You can, yes.
Nominate myself.
Okay. Any other? No? Okay. Could I have a? Do we need a vote on
Seconder and a
that?
vote.
A seconder. Councillor L. And a vote, please, on that. 2, 3. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, Councillor Pym. Vice Chair. Thank you very much. And then 3rd item is to appoint a member to the HR subcommittee. Do I have any nominations for someone from the court? Say nominations. Do I have anyone that would like to join the HR subcommittee? Councillor L. Okay. Do I have a seconder for Councillor L? Councillor Q. And could I get a vote on that, please? Thank you. So Councillor L is a member of the HR subcommittee. Thank you very much. Item 4 is public participation. Do I have anyone in the public that would like to speak? No? Thank you. 5 is to receive apologies for absence. I believe Councillor
Rustam's going to be late.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Minton.
Councillor No, we haven't received any.
Okay.
And 6, to receive declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Yes,
The district council.
Rather district council.
thank you. Chair's announcements, there are none. Minutes to be approved.
You have a vote and then initial.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to put on record that I don't actually agree with these minutes because we didn't actually resolve anything at the last Finance Committee meeting. So I don't agree with them.
Okay. Councillor Flynn?
Could I just ask for a bit of clarification on that? Resolve what?
Yes.
Well, it says that we resolved to send them to full council, but how could we have done that when we didn't actually discuss it? We didn't discuss the items, we didn't go through them line by line, we didn't actually look at the budget.
Oh, you're
So-
talking about the budget. Sorry.
Yes.
No, you didn't. You didn't say that. You said the finance minutes. You didn't say the budget. Now I know what
well,
you're talking about. Yeah.
Good, okay. So if I can make myself quite clear about that, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Could I ask, Chair, whether if we consider that as an incorrect minute, whether it is amended or whether we have to vote on an amendment, or is it just left as that and noted in the next set of minutes?
I believe it's noted in the...
So if you believe the minutes to be an incorrect record of the meeting, then there has to be a motion, a seconder, a vote, and then the minutes can be changed. If the chairman doesn't agree with the minutes being, thinks that the minutes are right, then the chairman can then write on the minutes that they disagree and they think that they're right. The fact that you had every opportunity at that meeting, you went through the budget and then we did confirm it's going to full council for recommendation, it's a very tricky one because that's what happened to the budget. You had that opportunity at finance and then as we confirmed it at the meeting that it was going to get passed to full council for them to have a look at it. So it's a very tricky one to, unless you want to watch the meeting back and then come back maybe at the next meeting because it's on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it back and then decide if you think you want the minutes. But I'm comfortable that this committee didn't at any point say that we knew what the agenda item was, and the agenda item was to review the budget before it goes to full council. It's always been part of our timetable and that's what was discussed. How that's chaired and then run through is entirely up to you. I can't influence that. You made those decisions as a committee to do what you did and then push it, then it gets put onto full council. You can't really change that protocol, things that happen. If the committee had thought they didn't want it to go to full council, they needed to have had a resolution to say actually we don't want this to go to full council, we don't want to discuss it further, we want to discuss it further before it goes, and that didn't happen. So
Through you, Chair, I made it quite clear that I did not agree with the precept and that budget at that meeting.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is just, I wasn't at that meeting.
No, I know.
So could I leave this and have a look at that, if that's okay?
yeah, of course.
Yeah? Okay. So I will revisit the video and watch that, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. We never minute any individual councillors' comments.
No.
So the minutes are a record of the decisions, not what people think. So it's very difficult if you don't agree with a decision, but the majority agree. We don't log anywhere the individual councillors that don't agree. So I wouldn't ordinarily, in any case, put that an individual councillor wasn't happy with a decision, because these minutes are a legal document and then they can be used. I know it's difficult, isn't it? It's the law. And I've sent out the NAUC guidance before on minutes, so I'll send that again after this meeting, so you can have a look again at the NAUC guidance on how minutes are prepared and the decision making of committees might help.
Okay. And I will revisit the video and watch that, no problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Sorry, excuse me, Chair. I think it's actually quite important that people are either voting against something. I think it's quite important that that's actually recorded somehow.
Yeah, you can do that. So in the law, it gives you an opportunity to call for a recorded vote. So if you would like your name to be recorded as voting against something, before the council moves on to the next item, you have to indicate to the chair that you'd like to have those names recorded. We've done it quite a few times about lots of different things. So if you really want your name to be recorded as voting against, make sure before we move to the next item, indicate to the chair. Then what we'll do is we'll call out everyone's names and then we'll put the names in the minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Grayson?
Yeah, it's not directly connected with the minutes, but the overview of the annual internal control task of the council, which is on tonight's agenda, shows that in November, i.e. this meeting, we review the committee forecasts and prepare the budget for full council review. This was a surprise in October that we were asked to do this in October. We did do it, but that was not what was planned for that night in our work schedule. That was not for the finance committee, that was for committees. But I understand the committees did their own budgets sooner, so it got brought to FGP sooner, but with very little warning. In fact, many members didn't know till the night.
Chair, there was warning. I had a pre-meet with the chairman about this, about whether we do that, whether, because we were ahead of schedule, do we bring it forward and continue or do we defer it? We decided to put it on the agenda. I put it on the agenda, discussed it with the chair. The chair was comfortable with that. We brought it to the meeting. We had a plan to go through it in a certain way. We didn't go through with the entire plan that was discussed in the pre-meet, but these things happen, meetings change. So if at any point during that meeting, and I did say at the meeting we're ahead of schedule, so we had every opportunity to pause it and not do anything, but you all agreed to put it to full council. Not, when I say all, I mean a majority. So how it works is, if the committee don't want to move something forward and the motion is put forward to defer it, and we've done it with a few other things where we've deferred items where we think we're just not quite ready to make the decision. So yes, we were a month ahead of schedule, but at no point had anybody actually said, look, we want to wait a month, and I wouldn't advise you to. I think we were doing well and nothing was rushed. So I'm really content with how we've managed the budget, and it's been our best year of actually understanding the budget and moving it forward. So I think you should actually be quite proud. I think we've done a good job.
We also didn't close it at the last meet at the full council. We also kept it open again.
So if I may, Chair, that's why I'm not arguing with the minute. It's now with the full council.
Yeah.
It's not with this committee anymore. Yeah. The full council can go through it line by line.
Yeah.
And still, I mean, it's only a method of getting it to council.
Yeah, I
And
understand.
and am I right in thinking, if I can ask the clerk, budgetary ones are a recorded vote?
No, only if you call it. So
Okay.
the law says you have a majority vote and no numbers or anything proposed as seconds, nothing is logged. And if you want to say the names of who's voted, you just must raise it before it moves on to the next item. Because once you move to the next item, you've lost your opportunity to record the names. And I think we've done a recorded vote on budgets before. So if you want to do it, make sure that you say it before we go to the vote, and then we'll call out the names, and then we can put into the minutes who doesn't agree with the budget.
Thank you.
Councillor Flynn?
Yeah, on the subject of the calendar, I distinctly remember I queried it at the time at the meeting, and the explanation was exactly as the clerk had it. We are ahead of ourselves. We've done extremely well to become ahead of ourselves, and therefore we have some leeway here. So it was raised at that meeting, and the same sort of reasoning was given then and accepted.
Okay, thank you. Can I move on? Yeah, so I'd like to move on to 9, which is to note that we have a new RFO starting in December, and the accounts will follow. B is to note of seal funds, £34,429 on the 11th of October 2024. Are there any questions? No. Yeah. C is to approve back payments for October 2024. I've had a look at this and it's pretty standard. Are there any questions on this? No. D, any questions? E? No.
Sorry, I do have a question. Have we had water bill for Devonshire Square toilets? Because we've got a utility bill for electric. We've got water for the allotments and the hub, but I don't see one for Devonshire Square.
If it's not on the list, I haven't received it yet.
So just a bit of a worry that if we're not getting one, is there something wrong with putting it into the town council's name and us getting bills? That's all, just to flag it.
Yeah, I can look into that, no problem. Thank you. That was D, wasn't it? We said E. Any questions? F is for...
Sorry.
Sorry, Chair. I presume we'll do this at full council, but I presume the budget will have to be changed because of the new national insurance requirements.
Yeah, that's what I'm just calculating. So I've got the figures from payroll, so I'll calculate what the uplift is, which is a percentage, and then I'll put that into the staff cost budget when we relook at it. So we've got town rangers. I think we said the full council said they want to look at town rangers. I've got to look at those, and we'll put this NI extra cost in.
Thank you.
That's going to make it even worse.
Moving on to F, to appoint further bank signatories. Do we need to vote for?
Yeah, I'd like 2 really.
Yeah. Okay.
If possible.
So,
I was going to say, bearing my proximity to the town centre and I walk past most days,
yeah.
would it be useful if I was one? No?
No, you don't need to come into the office.
Oh,
so
right.
it's
Oh,
all
it's
online
online.
banking. So
Oh,
what we
right.
do is when we sign off the
Oh, not me
payment
then.
run,
I'll just
then
walk past way then.
when we sign off the payment run, I email the bank signatories to log into the online banking to work through the payments and then send the payments. So it's somebody to sit at home and work through and pay
You're nominating
payments.
yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
So Councillor Drayson, do I have a seconder for Councillor Drayson? Yeah. Councillor L.
Yeah.
And a vote for Councillor Drayson?
Okay, one more.
One more, yeah. Okay. Would anyone else? Councillor Plym? Do I have a seconder for Councillor Plym? Councillor L. And a vote for Councillor Plym, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 10. Grants and donations, there are none. 11A, health and safety, is to note floor plan for upstairs, so the offices upstairs are there's an assessment being carried out, subject to landlord permission. So I guess we'll get more information on that once that's done. 12 is to consider making an expression of interest to Rother District Council SIL Fund. Do we need a vote on that? What is that?
Yeah, well, and an idea of anything you'd like us to apply for. We'd like to say what we'd like to spend the money on.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Tim.
Yeah, no, that was going to be my question. What are we expressing an interest for? I mean, I know we've earmarked certain SIL funds for play park, etc.
Yes.
But what other projects are we thinking of?
If we took on some of the parks and
Yeah.
gardens, was that what it was for? I believe?
It's an improvement in our infrastructure. So but at the moment it's only an expression of interest. So you're not committing to a project. We've not got a project plan. But if you've got an idea of a future project you think we're going to enter into, I can request some funding for it.
Yeah, I believe it was for parks and gardens. If we would get SIL
Could do
money for that.
Yeah, I could look at that.
Yeah.
I think that's wise.
Yeah. Councillor L.
It's not connected directly to this, it's probably a question for item 16 to be honest, but I'm talking with expression of interest and Rother District Council. I would like to ask, and it's not SIL funds, I understand, just through hearsay that I've heard, I'm not sure how long RDC are going to be in the town hall, yes or no. Could we set up an expression of interest of whether the town council may be able to look into it at all?
I believe there was a meeting before that if Rother are going to get rid of any assets, they're going to come to us first.
First refusal.
I think we've got first refusal.
Yeah.
Was that?
So would we hear about it?
Okay, Councillor Drayson.
It's not first
No.
refusal,
No.
but the Rother District Councillors could vote to make it first refusal probably in January time. There's that. They'll probably be presented with options about
Okay.
it. But I think Councillor Earl's question was specifically about Rother ceasing to exist
No,
and becoming a unitary authority.
not using
no?
the town hall.
Oh right, okay. Because
That's not.
I was thinking more like if Rother didn't exist, it is an asset which would be disposed of along that
Yeah.
programme board.
Are we able to express an interest in the town hall? I'm not sure how it works, maybe a part of the town hall? Are we able to ask that question?
You could put the motion forward to ask the question, but I think if it was to come up, they would let us know and hopefully, as Councillor Drayson said, if that does go through, then we get first refusal.
I think
Yeah, I think,
There's I don't believe there's any.
yes.
Councillor Kimpy?
Councillor Plym was at the Cabinet meeting the other night,
Okay,
where we actually approved a disposal policy,
okay.
which then gives you a structure for disposing of assets. And it became very clear that lots of the things are going to go to open market, which means we as a council would have to bid for it, and not necessarily having first.
Yeah.
And apparently they are going to let all the parish councils know when the policy is actually set.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's going to full council, I can't remember. But yeah, so we'll get notification,
Yeah.
but not necessarily
First
any
refusal.
preferential
Yeah.
treatment.
So before we do get notification, is it possible to put for a formal expression of interest today? To put for a motion to ask ask the clerk to go through the formal expression
Can,
of
but I don't
interest?
see
Would it hurt?
I wouldn't see the point of it, but you can do. Councillor Plym?
Go on.
Sorry, Councillor Plym.
Yeah, I would suggest the route to take would be, first of all, because this is all very early and embryonic in its stages, the items that rather are looking to devolve, disperse, however, are assets that they cannot upkeep and are surplus to their financial requirements. And at the moment, because Rother is in existence and they're using the town hall, it is extremely unlikely that that will come onto the agenda in the short term. Long term, maybe, and I would suggest this probably notion that Councillor Eller's putting forward here would maybe better explored via the leaders' meeting. And then we can sort of explore where they feel they are going in that route and give us a approximate timeline, if indeed they are going down that route.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wilson?
I think I agree with Councillor Plym. It's probably the wrong time, and I'm not sure whether the Finance and Audit Committee would be the right committee to make a suggestion that we might want to investigate purchasing the town hall. That's a massive obligation that's I think it should already go to full council. But the thought of a unitary authority has been around for many years. It's always on the table, and I think it's probably many years in advance that that's even a possibility. Some major works would have to be undertaken by 3 or 4 district and borough councils to make that happen. So I personally, we can discuss it at the leaders' meeting, which there happens to be one on Friday, and see how the land lies, but I would suggest that we may be a little bit premature in asking that question, if we wanted to do it as a council anyway.
Councillor Al?
That's okay. I like the updates on that. Just to make sure that I state my position, I didn't say purchase.
No.
I didn't say anything about paying for it.
Councillor Plym thinks we should be there anyway.
I do. I think the people of Bexhill deserve to see us there as a council.
Okay. So if we could we go back to the question of the seal money? Would we like to ask Rother for if they would be willing to give us any seal money if we were to take on Parks and Gardens? Councillor Plym?
Yeah, we have got a number of projects bubbling under, and it would be, as Councillor Tempe sort of alluded to, it would be handy to find out the possibilities of channeling some seal money into those projects. We're already channeling some money into the Pepsham Playground project. We have seal money that's allocated for the upgrade of Devonshire Square toilets as well. We're sort of thinking ahead with this one, and we've got land possibly coming in from north of Sidley on the Kaitai area, which a certain chunk of seal money will come from into as well.
Also Pepsham.
So we need a little bit of a sort of a steer as to what other things we are working on that we could possibly channel some seal money into. Because I'm very unclear about the criteria for seal money. Although we were given the guidance the other day, it seems very sort of very difficult to work through, and so I wonder whether the clerk could give us some guidance on this at all.
Yeah, it's also difficult because you don't have like some laid out projects. We know the Pepsham and the current ones we've got is all good. We've covered that. We don't really have those longer term projects yet written down as part of our strategy. So I think if you putting in for this money, it's kind of all, even if you said parks and gardens and used it for that, that will free up money that's already in your budget that you've said parks and gardens that we could put in something else. So at this point, I don't think the actual project could, is really going to make any difference. It's making sure we put in an expression for the money. And then if we take on parks and gardens, we use it for that. If we do another project, then we go back to them and say, actually, we've changed our mind, we want to do this. I think we can work with it.
So we know if we can actually get.
I think the thing is make a bid for the money.
We do have a project underway that's not funded at the moment, which is the roundabout at Ravenside, the sculpture that we talked about, and some plans have been done. We could apply for it for that.
Yeah, could do.
Because we haven't got any funding as such for that in our
do.
precept, and that's one that we've talked about. The previous council has done an awful lot of work, and we just need to understand the next stage, and we haven't got the money for it, so we could use that one as a.
Okay. So, would anyone like to put a motion forward to say we'd like to ask for seal money for parks and gardens, or Councillor Flynn?
I think we should just make an interest in requesting seal money, and I don't know if we could, and to be the value of which to be decided in the future, because we're quite an aspirational council, but our aspirations lie in areas that currently are under control, budgetary control, by Rother, and until they come forward, and it's a very grey area at the moment, and it's nobody's fault apart from the system we find ourselves in. We would possibly love to do a bid for seal money to upgrade the fountains on the seafront, because that's what members of the public want. But they're not our fountains. It's not our property. So we find ourselves in a situation where we'll be bidding for money to upgrade assets that are rather owned. So until they actually come down, those assets come down to us, we can't actually bid for money for them. But aspirationally, we would want that seal money to do so. So whether we could stake a claim and say we would like some seal money to upgrade the fountains, pending the devolvement of that asset to us. I don't know if that would work.
No, because they're not ours.
No.
We don't have permission to do it. I think
No.
the town board are talking about it.
I thought the town board would.
Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah. We'd have to progress conversations with Rother in order to get the ownership or some sort of lease of them, I think, to get them back. And I think we tried this before, didn't we? And it didn't get anywhere.
They didn't want to do it.
They didn't want to lease them, or because it was prom and it was difficult.
That was prior to their new policy that's come in. Well, will be coming in, hopefully.
Yeah.
Councillor Wilson?
I think it's quite easy, really. Yes, we express an interest. We've got one project that has started that isn't funded. We just say the roundabout and worry about it next year for future funding. There are lots of people that want the fountains sorted, but that's a major piece of work to be done. So we need massive collaboration through the whole of town. So it's a simple thing to do. We just say, yes, we will express an interest and we would like to use it for that, because the roundabout isn't Rother's land, it's highways. So, but it's for the benefit of the town, and that's what the town council's here for, is to benefit the town of Bexhill. So, and that's what community infrastructure money is for.
Okay. Councillor Grayson?
No, I was going to say, if we can get away with expressing interest without naming a project, then. But if we have to name a project, the roundabout's one, and a generic parks and gardens, open spaces. Actually, go further than parks and gardens. Say open spaces, because that would cover the Pepsham or Sidley extensions.
So we would like to express an interest for seal funds for the roundabout and parks and gardens, and all parks and gardens.
Parks, gardens and open spaces.
Parks, gardens, open spaces and the roundabout.
If we have to.
Like that. Yeah. Okay. Do we have a proposer for that? Councillor Pleat and a seconder, Councillor Drayson, and the vote on that, please. Thank you. Recommendations from committees. There are none. Motions from councillors. There are none. Correspondence and matters for information. Freedom of information request is Christmas lights.
Oh, that's okay. It wasn't from a resident of Bexhill. It was one of those. It went to all of us town clerks, where they do. I think they do marketing and research. But luckily, all of our finances are all on our website, so I just directed them to the website for all the figures.
Thank you. 16. You have the questions there and the answers there. That's A. Councillor Timper.
Excuse me, yeah. That was about the Bexhill signage. Was that the welcome to Bexhill signs? Okay, I've had a comment from the Delaware. The previous signs not only had home of motor racing or whatever, but also home of the Delaware Pavilion.
Okay.
And I wasn't part of all the decisions or the design. I just wonder why they were left off, because it's actually a very significant part of our town.
Yeah.
And if we can get it somehow on, it would be really great.
I believe that was the council before. That was Councillor Plim, maybe after.
Yeah, the design was produced by the previous administration and agreed and progressed. And that's how we put it through. By all means, if the Delaware Pavilion feel put out by that, I'm sure some of their £20 million that they got, they could give to us to put some signage up and alter it for them.
Okay, thank you.
So
I'll pass that.
Councillor Wilson.
with regard to that, I have been party to some emails and it's been explained. I just felt it was quite disappointing that there wasn't a collaboration from the previous administration with organisations within Bexhill that will be impacted to a change in the signage. And I think this administration, I'd like to think that if we did that now, we would at least have a discussion with some alterations that we might be doing. I felt that was quite unfortunate.
Yeah, as we said, it was the old administration.
I felt that was very unfortunate.
Yeah, maybe if the Delaware does want to come to us and ask questions.
Yeah, I just think it's a little bit presumptuous of us to take them off.
But it wasn't.
I know.
Yeah.
Us. Well, it's a town council decision. It wasn't us. It was the town council. And their 20 million, as you call it, is for their infrastructure project. So I doubt that any monies would come from there. I just think that you can easily take the sign and have it I don't know, have it redone or have the line put on or whatever.
Yeah,
could sponsor
it. Thank you.
I'll pass that on to Stuart.
Okay, moving on to B. To receive questions from councillors. Any future agenda? Yes, Councillor Drayson.
We got today a request from Rother about the consultation on Rother's budget. Obviously too late for this meeting, and the clerk has said she'll put it to the next meeting. But we've got a full council meeting before that, and so I'm just saying, I don't see that the council will have a view on Rother's budget, but individual councillors may. So I was just saying, could this be put on the next full council budget for noting for councillors to take part in the consultations? I think trying to get councillors to agree a single voice about Rother's budget, it's bad enough getting one to decide on Bexhill's budget. To get a single voice for Rother's might be quite difficult, so I'd like to see it on the full council agenda, which is before the next finance meeting.
In part email today, it does say that it's going to be on the next full council agenda.
Oh, I thought it said...
No, it says full council.
Oh, sorry.
So the clerk's one step ahead.
I saw FC, not FP. Thank you, I saw FP.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Or a phone.
I give up. I'd like to congratulate the clerk on putting this on the next council agenda. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is this the time to ask questions? You moved on to that 16B.
It's up to you, Chair. It's up to you, Chair.
I have done it in other committees I've been
Yeah.
around to.
That's fine.
I know it's been very difficult for our clerk with the RFO not being here that long and the new one not starting until December, but may I please remind of a motion from September last year about an investment of some funds to gain interest on our money that we hold. It was agreed in the finance meeting in September last year that we would do some investments. It was all agreed, confirmed, and I don't believe that's been done purely because there hasn't been a resource. Could I please remind...
It's been done. We did it.
I couldn't see it on the accounts.
150,000.
Okay,
It's been done, paperwork signed, the money's in the account.
that's the second occasion tonight where you've been ahead of the
I'm not,
question.
I do remember.
I'm not
what
the
you're
only one
saying,
that
yeah.
asked you.
Okay,
So I'm starting to think, should I do it?
okay,
Yeah,
It's
that was.
been done.
That was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Real ones.
Move on.
It's like
Okay.
a parallel universe.
Moving on to 16C, to consider any risks for future mitigation.
Should we have on our risk register potentially using the first floor of the hub? Subject to the report that's received.
I think that would be what the report. Yeah, the report will come and then.
Then we've got
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. 17, overview of annual internal control tasks of the council. Don't think would you like me to go through that, or are you happy to read that? What's there?
Resume contract.
Okay, I'll leave that for you to read. And then 18, so that's the date of our next meeting, is the 11th of December 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Okay.
I agree.